Today I'm going to show you how I rim a basket. When the basket is done, we want to cover this rim rail up with a flat oval piece of reed on the inside, outside, a piece of seagrass on the top, and we're going to lace it on. So I'm going to show you how I do it. The first thing you want to do is take your rim pieces. I inverted this one so it's going to go on the inside of the basket. And I have decided that the front of my basket is going to be where this twist eye is. So to the side, to the right of the front of my twilled wastebasket, I'm going to lay the inside rim against a tucked spoke. So I have it up against this tucked spoke, which is the first spoke on that side. And I'm just going to run it around, clothespin, just about 4 clothespins or so. This isn't going to be the final position of it. And then when you get back to the beginning, you're going to cut it off on a 3-spoke overlap. I have already trimmed and shaved these, but I'm going to show you. I have from this spoke where I started, 1, 2, 3, I trimmed it to the right of that 3rd spoke. And then you take a pencil and you make a mark on the flat side of both ends so that you know the part you're going to shave is from the pencil mark down. Now, the reason I don't put it on the flat side of one end and the flat oval side of the other end is because if your shaving is not perfect, you see that shaved edge. But on this basket, I have already shaved the inside piece, and I shaved one of the outside pieces. If you shave the flat side on one side, and then you're going to come around and shave the oval side on the other side, let's say you shave it up a little higher than you want it to, you're going to see that shaved edge. But the flat side on both ends prevents that from happening. So my inside rim started here, and my outside rim will start in the back. I'm going to do the same thing, going around and measuring and cutting it off on the 3rd spoke overlap and making my pencil marks on the flat side of both ends. So here's where I started, and then I'm going to here, the 3rd, and I cut it off past the 3rd spoke. And then my pencil marks are on the flat side of both ends. Now I've shaved the one end, but I'm going to show you how I shave this one. Everybody has different tools, but for the shaving, I use a board and my little shaving knife. I hold it down like this, and at the beginning where my pencil mark is, I shave down towards the end. You want to take about half of the reed off so that when they lay down on top of each other, they're going to be about the same thickness as the whole piece. So then I usually like to just make my edge a little bit thinner than the rest of it. Now this is going to be my beginning, because on the other end, I already shaved it down, and then I curved it and made a nice point. So you can do that on the ends of yours also. So now we're going to, before we put the inside and outside rims on, we are going to start our lacer before we even put the rims on. This is something I've started doing because it is so much easier. So I'm going to go back. This is my front. Quarter turn to the right. I'm going to start my inside rim here, and I will start my seagrass on top there too. And then to the back, I'm going to start my outside rim up against this butted spoke. It's going to be a 3-spoke overlap. So I'm going to go farther to the right, and I'm going to start my lacer here. Well, when you don't have your rim attached, it is so easy to start your lacer, because I just started to the left of a spoke. And really, that's all it is. You have the flat side facing up, and you lay it over, and you can clothespin it there. Now, I like to even end my lacer before I even start. So what you're going to do when you're at the left of the spoke that you want to start on, you take a tool and you open up the spoke. Let's see. There we go. And we're going to have the oval side up. I'm just going to slide that right through there because I'm actually ending my lacer end before I even start. So there's my end. Do a total 90-degree angle. And now my lacer is going to be right there, ready to go. I'm going to keep a clothespin on it. And I'll coil it up. So it's just going to sit on the inside of my basket waiting for my rims to be attached before I start lacing. It's so much easier than trying to get it up under the inside rim, under the seagrass, under the outside rim when there's nothing there. So now let's get back to where we're going to start our inside rim. Just to the right of the front, butted up against a tucked spoke. So we're going to put a clothespin there. And then we're going to start, I soak my seagrass, so this is nice and wet and pliable. I like to butt that up against a tucked spoke also. I'm going to start that here right on top and clothespin it over to the back. And then I'm going to have my outside rim join. This is my beginning. So I'm going to butt that up against the tucked spoke, and I'm going to clothespin all of these together up until my lacer. Well, this is where my lacer is going to start. So I'm going to take my clothespin off there. Remember, that's where it's starting. Now I'm going to change to cable ties instead of clothespins from here out. So you're going to take your cable ties out, and with the flat side of the head facing up, you're going to put them in between two spokes underneath just the rim rail. Sometimes it's hard. It depends on what your basket's like on top. This one isn't too bad. And then slip the end in and pull tight. If you have it in right, it'll click into place and hold it tight. So we're going to do that all the way around the basket. Open up a spot, add another one back here, making sure the flat part of the head is up. Now I'm in the front. So anytime you know on any basket where you're going to start, you decide where you're going to start your beginning of your inside rim and your outside rim. You can start your lacer to the right of the outside rim. I always stagger my beginnings. I start my inside rim here, then I'll start my outside rim here, and my lacer to the right of the outside rim, so they're not all in the same place. Now I took my clothespin off where my inside rim started, and I'm going to exchange my clothespin for a cable tie. I'm going to catch the end of my seagrass also. Now what I like to do when I'm actually lacing, the beginning of the seagrass will be down tight, and then I lay the new part of the end of the seagrass on top, and then I trim it as I'm lacing. So lacer should be about right here. So I'm just going to take some of that off and continue cable tying, taking off my clothespins. And here's my last one. This is where I started, was here. 1, 2, 3 spoke overlap. I cut it off just past that. I shaved the underside down and I shaped it into a point at the end. Just something you don't have to do, but I like to do. It makes it look nice. Okay, now here's my last cable tie. And your rims should be very tightly secured. Now I'm going to pull my lacer out and start lacing. You want to make sure your lacer is to the right of your outside rim overlap. So the first spot it's going to go in is to the spoke to the right. Make a diagonal over top of every spoke, not in between the spokes. Making sure the oval side is out and you pull it nice and tight. So over the top of the every spoke, you will have a diagonal that goes from the left to the right. Now my next one has a cable tie on it, so I'm just going to trim that top part off, take the cable tie off, open up a spot, and slip it in and pull. You need to pull this very tight. The reason that the seagrass is in there is to cover all those ends that we cut and tucked. And it should be nice and tight like this so you don't see anything. Now, if you've got a big basket, you might want to do a few of these at a time. So I open up some spots, and then I'm going to slip my lacer inside from the outside to the inside and just pull it a little ways. And I'm going to put it in again. Then pull those both a little bit. And then I'm going to do it again. And a fourth time. So now I'm going to tighten all of those lacers up at the same time, positioning them as a diagonal right on top of each one of those spokes. Okay. The next one I need to take the cable tie off again. I'm going to continue this all the way around the basket. When I get back to here, after on top of my lacer, I'm going to cut the seagrass off so that you only see one piece of seagrass. And after I do this lacer, which is my last one, then I have to end my lacer. And I will demonstrate how to end your lacer now, and we'll just pretend the whole basket's done. You need to bring the lacer up under the inside rim, under the seagrass, and back to the outside of the basket underneath the outside rim. So there are tools that they make to make this easier, but that you can just slip now it's a little bit easier for me now because the rest of the basket's not tight. But that's the process. You're going under the inside rim, under the seagrass. So you see this one in here, and then it's coming out. Now you want to go under the outside rim. And pull that tight. And then you'll be ending on the outside of the basket. Now, you can just, after it's dry, you can just trim that off. But a little something I like to do is I like to put it backwards under my last two laces. And push it up under the rim. I would trim it right there. get it untwisted here. And then I would take a tool and push it up under the inside rim so you can't see it. Okay, so that's how you lace a basket.